First of all, I would like to ask, how many of you agree that breakfast is very important? I mean, to talk in front of like Dr. Anup Mishra and all legendary persons who are here, I'm talking something against that breakfast is not, a plan for weight loss. Many of us grew up being told that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. We all started feeling that breakfast should be taken like a king, and that is what we understood in the last many years. We all heard that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, especially if you want to lose weight. And you should make sure that you eat breakfast. And this is a belief that is supported by about zero hard science. This is very, very important. When I was searching for this, what I could find only in favor of breakfast, and that too not with the science, but all in media, all in the newspapers, all the big quotes by the big experts across the country and across the world, but there is no hard science. It makes just about no sense at all. Why would anyone lose weight by making sure that they eat more? And this is very important sentence which I want, because there is no scientific support for this idea that a person should have a regular breakfast to lose the weight. And the similar thing is for control of the sugar also. I will show some of the data. Breakfast provides the body and brain the fuel after an overnight fast. And this is a common misconception where it is the name originates, breaking the fast. Without breakfast, you are effectively running on an empty, like trying to start the car with no petrol. And this is a statement or a paper which was written in the Times of India just before few months back. While breakfast has been advocated as the most important meal of the day, in media, please make sure that it is in media, not in any scientific journal. Since 1917, there is a paucity of evidence to support breakfast consumption as a strategy to achieve weight loss, including in adults with overweight or obesity. And it is perfectly okay to break your fast, but why not? Why not eating lunch instead of taking a breakfast at 9 a.m.? What is breakfast? One overnight fast by eating breakfast. Timing is not fixed. Somebody is taking it 6 o'clock, somebody is taking it 10 o'clock. Same person takes sometimes 6 o'clock, sometimes he takes 7 o'clock. Timing is again not fixed up at what time he get up also. That is again very, very important. If I am getting at 8 o'clock instead of going straight away going to take my breakfast at 9 o'clock, sometime I get up at 4 o'clock and taking my breakfast at 8 o'clock, it is going to make some difference. It is different in different parts of the world. In India, many persons don't take it regularly, so there is no data to support it that it has to be the quantity and contents are not fixed. So someday when I am in the West at Pune, I may take much more, and sometime I may not take it. And quantity as well as the contents are completely different. Quality completely changes. Every day it is changes. Interday and intraday, the same person might be taking different variety of breakfast, different type of the content, carb contents, protein content, everything is different. No RCT is done. And I understand it is really very, very difficult to do a randomized controlled trial. And that's what I was asking Dr. Anup Mishra. And after my talk, I will again ask him that how it is possible. No expert consensus. Can we create an experts meeting in next conference regarding this breakfast? And media more propagates it. And I'm sure all of us, whatever we read in media, because breakfast is very important. Tomorrow, suppose a news channel is asking you, you will again say the same thing. Yes, breakfast is very, very important. I don't think you will say that, no, breakfast is not important. This is very interesting article which I could find after a lot of search. And this is published in this year only, 2019, by British Medical Journal. And they have done a review. It's the effect of breakfast on weight and energy intake. It's a systemic review and meta-analysis of randomized control trial. I have a full article with me, and I can give you the printout also. What is already known on this topic? Many observational studies have suggested that regular breakfast consumption is associated with low body mass index and its protective factor against weight gain. This is what is known according to in this particular paper, but evidence from randomized control trial of breakfast consumption has been inconsistent. We don't have any data to support it. What this randomized control, this review article shows that modification of diets to include consumption of breakfast might not be as good a strategy for weight loss regardless of established breakfast habit. Caution is needed when recommending breakfast for weight loss in adult, as it could have opposite effects. So I mean, if you are just asking someone to have breakfast, it may have opposite effect, as the quality of the included studies were mostly low. Findings should be interpreted with caution. More high quality trials of longer duration are needed to examine the role of breakfast eating in overall weight management program. And what he had done from 1990 to 2008, 18 PubMed article, Ovid Mednile, Sinal, they have taken, and ultimately they could find 13 or 12 studies which are to be included in this meta-analysis. So I mean, from all these thousands of the papers which was there and published all over the world since last 1990 to 2018, or were included, and only 13 and 12 they could find with some good data. And these were the all studies. But I just want to, that objective was to examine the effect of regular breakfast consumption on a weight change and energy intake in the people living in high income countries. And the results was all 13 included trial. 7 examined the effect of eating breakfast on weight change, and 10 examined the effect of on energy intake. And meta-analysis of the results found on a small difference in weight, favoring the participants who skip the breakfast or not taking the breakfast, and some inconsistency across the trial results, participant assigned to breakfast. Now, these were the trials. If you just see all these, there is none of a single trial is showing a benefit that person should take a breakfast. Not a single trial, except one which was having a 52 patient in 1992 had shown some benefits as far as breakfast should be taken. In one other study, these are all the studies which were quoted in this from 2011, 2014, 16, 15, 14, 5, all these studies, and all of them had talked that intervention group where one arm was having a breakfast, other was skipping the breakfast. And you can say that duration of these studies are not very long, but some of the studies had shown 16 weeks and 12 weeks also, and none of them had shown any benefit of taking the breakfast regularly. They are not favoring those persons who are not taking breakfast, or they are not favoring even those who are taking the breakfast. The mean difference was not there in all these studies. The conclusion of this paper was, this study suggests that the addition of breakfast might not be a good strategy for weight loss. So mind well, it is not a good idea, because most of the dietitians, they will say that. No, I am sitting in a Pune where the Dixit diet is very popular. So he is also propagating that breakfast should not be taken, only the 2 diets are okay. But I am not, favoring somebody, but this says that addition of breakfast might not be a good strategy for weight loss, regardless of established breakfast habit. Caution is needed when recommending a breakfast for a weight loss in adults. It could have opposite effect. Further randomized control of high quality are needed to examine this. But even though after this time, there is no scientific evidence, then I was searching what different guidelines, what different consensus they are talking of the breakfast. And if you see the international recommendation for breakfast from 2010 to 2018, even United Kingdom, that is British Dietetic Association in 2016, in Australia, Dietetic Association of Australia in 2013, United States, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics in Adult Weight Management Program in 2014, Ireland and New Zealand, they all are saying that breakfast should be taken. But they don't have any scientific evidence. I don't know why there is a recommendation by all these associations that breakfast should be a regular part of the meal. Then the same study which already Neeta has talked about, the AMEND, which is actually we were talking about in diabetes management. It was done with the AGP, ambulatory glucose profile, related evaluation of medical nutrition therapy for more effective diabetes management. In this particular study, a patient was for 14 days on a AGP. On day 1, the patient enrollment was done and AGP was mounted. On day 7, AGP reading was done and meal to be replaced. And on 14th day, we had seen the final AGP result. In this, patient data collection was there. Doctor was asked to fill up the case report from 3 times during the study, baseline, 7 days and 14 days. And the interim analysis of this, the breakfast of 85 patients out of 449 patients was found to be the heaviest meal of the day. Now, this is very important. So, out of those all, if you see, many of them are taking the heaviest meal of the meal, is the biggest meal of the day is the breakfast. When the breakfast was replaced by the portion control, calorie content, carbohydrate content, protein enriched food product, then average blood glucose reduced from 163 to 143. And what I recommend, that breakfast, if somebody is taking the breakfast, we should change the content of the breakfast. That is more important, and timing of the breakfast is very, very important to improve the time in range in the patients who are diabetic. Who made breakfast? Now this is very, very important. Only humans have breakfast. No other animals is having the breakfast. There is no kutrao, no guy, nobody is eating the breakfast every day in morning. And God had not created a regular way of eating breakfast. Sleep and wake up cycle, it is in a circadian rhythm. All hormones which are released during early morning which increases glucose due to gluconeogenesis. And this is very important because why the God had given the gluconeogenesis? I mean, a person who is getting up at 5 o'clock when the melatonin hormone goes down and your liver starts making the gluconeogenesis. All counter-regulatory hormones starts in the body and just they prepare us in morning for workout and get food. So if somebody is getting up at 5 o'clock and he takes his first meal in the day at 9 o'clock, it makes sense. And if somebody is getting up at 8 o'clock and taking his first meal at 9 o'clock, it does not make any sense because at that point of time, there is already high amount of gluconeogenesis. And this is very important. We could not have any data for this. And this is what we used to do till 18th century. So every time, whenever any dietitian, then she will say, my grandma used to cook early morning a khakra or bhakri, but your grandma, before 50 years only. And since last 50 years only, we started getting diabetes and all those obesity issues. So don't talk of your grandma. Please talk your great-great-great-grandma, which was born before 200 years, and that time there was no breakfast. So make sure before 200 years, we change slowly. They used to get up at 5 o'clock. So please make sure. And their first meal used to be at 9 or 10 o'clock. So that's fine. But now we are getting up at 8 o'clock and taking the first meal at 9 o'clock. It does not make any sense. In last 200 years, we slowly changed over a period of time. And last 30 years, we changed too much. And that is the reason for our epidemic. If you just do the continuous glucose monitoring, even in a non-diabetic patients, I will show one of my patients with AZP. In a non-diabetic, the biggest meal of the day or biggest post-meal peak is also post-breakfast. And this is what we have done in continuous glucose monitoring. If you take the same amount of the carbohydrate between breakfast, lunch and dinner, you will find the biggest peak again post-breakfast only. If you take even lesser carbohydrate, even in the breakfast time, still the biggest peak of the day will be the post-breakfast. So please, this we must understand the post-breakfast peak is very, very high. We have done this is Dr. R.R. Gupta. He is a professor of dermatology and he developed IGT. He is HbA1c 6 only. He told, no, breakfast is very, very important. So I told, sir, let us do your AGP, continuous AGP ambulatory glucose profile. Every time, whenever you used to have breakfast, you can see the post-breakfast, post-lunch, post-dinner, all sugars are high. And when I told him to skip either breakfast or to take very, very less carbohydrate in the breakfast, no idli, no dosa, no khakra, no thepla, no roti. If you stop all these things, try to take something else which does not have a simple carbohydrate. At least you can make it from simple carbohydrate to complex carbohydrate. Take more of a vegetable, what Rucha was taking like today. The similar type of things, if you take the post-meal or post-breakfast, sugar will not increase. This is one more patient where we have done. This is a patient where the first 7 days you can see the post-breakfast sugar is very, very high. I have not done any change in the therapy of this patient. I have not done anything for this patient because we do uniquely for our patient in AZP. We call the patients every 7 days. In 14 days, we try to make 2 consultations and try to use this AZP for 2 consultations. So I call the patient on 7th day and I had shown that, see, when you are taking your breakfast which contains simple carbohydrate, you can see your post-breakfast, post-lunch and post-dinner, all 3 are high. On the right side, I have not done anything. No medicinal changes were done in this particular patient. We had just changed only the breakfast content of the patient, and you can see the post-breakfast, post-lunch and post-dinner, all sugar were absolutely well controlled. There was one more patient taking heavy meal, breakfast, post-lunch, post-dinner, everything was very high. We changed the therapy completely, this patient on nutritional management, and you can see within 7 days, almost no carbohydrate we had given to this patient, and within 7 days you can see a significant change in this patient. This patient on a pre-mix insulin twice daily. And as patient was told, because you have to take 2/3 of the insulin, premix insulin should be taken before breakfast. And that's the reason patient was taking a big breakfast, like a king size. And you can see what is the effect of this king size breakfast. Post-breakfast sugar are very, very high. And in afternoon, patient was getting hypoglycemia. We explained the patient, we stopped the premix, put the patient on a longer acting insulin, and we just stop, and you can see the difference also. So in conclusion, time's up. No scientific evidence for breakfast to eat regularly, mainly for weight loss or even for diabetes control. Please stop. Last line I am reading just now. Please stop eating heavy breakfast with lot of carbohydrate. Better to take nuts, sprouts and fruits in morning time. So eating breakfast, if you don't have the time, please don't take it. If you are not hungry, please don't take it. If it is not convenient to you, please don't take it. If you are not sure what to eat, please don't take it. Balance is the key. That's what I want to say in this. Thank you very much. Once again, welcome you to all at Ahmedabad for our Diacon meeting as well as our National IDEC meeting. Thank you.